Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy, action-packed 3-hour program today. Playoff numbers across the board. Player props for tonight. Door 1, door number 2 coming up a little bit later on, including NFL MVP numbers in that segment. MLB awards, blind resume, live betting Major League Baseball. Great guests on the program today as well. Brad Powers on college football, Aaron Renning on the NBA, and Matt Youmans a little bit later on in the show today as well, Paulie. Last night, another good game in the NBA. Exciting, high-paced. A lot of points scored. 43 in the first quarter for the Pacers. And I guess, you know what? Good job out of you. You trusted Halliburton, right, with the comments after the previous game where he said, I wasn't happy with myself. Thinking back, I walked the ball up too many times. That's not going to happen. We're going to put the foot on the gas, and that's exactly what they did. And the Pacers, quite frankly, are a better basketball team than the Knicks. The series price was a little too high on New York, and these individual game point spreads, again, they don't make any sense.
No. They are the better team. I think to be catching 5 tomorrow is also absurd.
Agreed.
You just see how much depth they have, and the whole floor, spread them out, and so many guys can shoot. And the conundrum for Tibbs, you know, they're hunting Brunson. He can't guard anyone. He's been in foul trouble. Same with Cat. When Towns and Brunson have been on the floor together in the series, they've been outscored by 24 points. Big, but I certainly expected a bounce back, but not a historic performance. With 32, 13, and 15 with 0 turnovers, what he did.
What a game.
I mean, it was an all-timer, right?
That really was.
That no one's done this, what he did in the playoffs as well. But, you know, it's the same thing with Minnesota, which we'll talk about coming up. The Knicks had 17 turnovers. And if you're going to turn the ball over against these guys, good luck.
Yeah, they'll turn it into fast break points before you can blink, right? They're going to go from point A to point B in 2 seconds. Right. There was a spot right away in the game last night where you could tell the Pacers were trying to set the tone. It was very early on, like first minute or two of the game, where the Knicks scored a basket, and then they inbounded the basketball, and the Pacers went 1,000 miles an hour, and they responded by scoring 4 seconds later. It's just like, oh, it's going to be one of those kind of games, huh? So if you notice that right away, you're like, yeah, this is Halliburton was onto something here. Knicks are going to play with them. We got to get involved in the in-play betting numbers to go over now.
I saw as high as 248.5.
Yeah.
Why are they running with them?
It makes no sense.
Everyone talked about whoever wins this series, pace will be key.
Right.
And the Knicks were supposed to take the air out of the ball. They're running with. They can't run with them. They don't have depth. In Indiana, this is what they want you to do. They're going to wear you out. Start strong, close fast, use their depth, and how great they are offensively. And again, we talked about coming into the series, their effective field goal percentage was number 1 all time in the first 2 rounds, and that continues.
What did that total officially move, by the way, before tip-off? Was it 2.5 points?
222 to 219.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go. And so in the Killer Sports Challenge that we have on VSiN.com, I had a feeling that the number was going to go down, trying to read the market. I played the under last night, and I had 2.5 points of closing line value. End of the first quarter, no chance. Bet was dead.
Yep, it was.
Knew immediately. Not even end of the first quarter. 5 minutes into the game, probably.
Yep.
So, and again, 5 points for the Knicks to be laying in game 5. How?
I don't understand what they're watching.
No.
Yep. Because someone is going to go off for Indiana and help out Halliburton. It's just they have too many good players. So whether it's Siakam, who killed you in game 2 and was also great last night, giving you 30. Yeah. Mathurin, who was not playing well. Our McConnell stuff lost, but Mathurin was great. There's just so many guys that can beat you, and I think they're gonna give OKC a hell of a series. And I think you got to grab the 5 tomorrow as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I will say from a player,
they've won 6 in a row on the road in the playoffs.
Yeah, from a player prop standpoint in this series, I think I'm going to tap out. I can't figure it out.
I know.
I'm on the right guy in the wrong game.
Yeah, just like the Randall stuff. So good. First 2 rounds, goes off early in the series, no-show game 2, comes back, great performance, no-show game 4. Sure. Well, I was a spectator. Yep. Well, you scored 5 points. What are you doing? Right? Some of this it's bizarre what's happening with the player props.
Yeah, because I bet Mathurin in games 1 and 2 based on his history against the Knicks. Bet him pretty nice and had no chance. And I thought for sure he was in the doghouse going into the game last night. Well, that was quickly wiped away. And the guy that I was on was McConnell because of various reasons. And nope, not getting the job done last night. Bad job by me with the player prop bets. Not coming through there. But again, if I had to make one bet right now in that game, it would certainly be the Pacers plus the 5. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah. And then we do get into the game tonight as well. And I don't know. You mentioned this early yesterday on the show when I want basically no part of, and I have Minnesota at 40-1 to win the West. It's a dead ticket. They're not going to come back and beat this team 3 times in a row. But I think this team is too good, and I think they have too many guys who play with pride and are dogs out there in the court and care and have the passion, like an Anthony Edwards, because I don't think he had a good game the other night. Man, you said maybe bet him early, first quarter, first half.
Yes, if they show up, it's got to be first half.
I would agree.
And because OKC is so good in the second half, yep. It's a lot of points, but it's also Minnesota was so good offensively with the others, and they still lost the game. But what we just talked about, turnovers. This is from Brian Windhorst, ESPN. At one point in the last game, OKC attempted 23 more shots than Minnesota.
Oh, killed them.
I mean, Minnesota still should have won that game. That's a 2-point game.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo 20, what Walker did, and you still lose the game. So if they take care of the ball and they're able to knock it down from 3, Randall has to be better. He was horrific. And I would think you get aggressive Ant. So if you want to get Ant props, go ahead. I just can't imagine he comes out and isn't aggressive as well. And I'm sure Finch mentioned something to him. But this is a good one, I think, tonight for props because, again, I trust Walker. Again, I trust SGA, which I'll talk about in a second. Dan Karpuk's got a great write-up today on vsin.com about Nas rebounds over. Mm-hmm. He's 5.5 at Caesars. Right. He's at 8, 8, 8, and 6. Why'd it go down?
Well, because it was 6.5 last time when he stayed under. But it probably, I would agree. I think it probably should be 6.5.
This is it now. You lose, it's over. Right.
No,
you got to compete tonight. Everyone, all hands on deck.
Yeah. Gobert actually had some moments in the previous game. So maybe that's the thought is there that Gobert might get a little bit more run than normal tonight than Naz Reid, and I think that might be a little bit correlated. But for sure, you got to expect maybe you want to go Ant Edwards like first quarter points over. He's hurt about it now for 2 full days.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that he has.
Yeah. So, plus, if you're going to go out, you got to go down firing. Got to go down shooting. Not going to go out and be not going to be aggressive again. So.
And this is a guy who we documented this. I think it was in the previous series against Golden State that after a loss, for the most part, Anthony Edwards comes out in the next game, man, and he goes guns a-blazing.
Yep.
And he usually produces.
Yep. Williams has also been a stud, and he was awesome in the last game as well. He's 21.5. So bounce back for Randall, should be 16.5. And Ant's 26.5 at DraftKings. The series price is up. OKC is 5.25 against the Pacers. I think the Pacers can give them problems.
It's heavy duty, man. That is a big number.
Because it'll be fascinating because you got the number one offense, like what they're doing right now through the playoffs against the number one defense.
I mean, I think out of all the teams in the East, and I said this, we'll never find out, but I thought the Celtics would have gotten crushed against Oklahoma City in a 7-game series. I think the Knicks, that would be a 4 or a 5-game series against OKC. I think OKC would do whatever they want against them. I think a fully healthy Cavs team against OKC would have been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
But this Pacers team, I think out of all the 4 teams I just mentioned, would be, public enemy number 1 here for the Thunder. I think that's the last team that they want to see and play in a 7-game series.
Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. How'd you feel about the other game? Very disappointed in your question to Davis. Skinner is locked in, my friend. Dialed in. He's walking out there like Vince McMahon, as he said. This run that this guy's on
You're going to end
nuts.
up jinxing this, aren't you?
Get out of here. Love the guy. Come on. This is doable now. He gives up 1 goal. He's strong again. Can they close him out on the road? I don't know. I think you dismiss what happened in the third period of game 1.
Yeah, but will voters?
The biggest thing you got to overcome, he wasn't there for the first 6 wins. Yeah. That's the thing that's going to get you. But so be 95-1 yesterday, and now you're seeing as low as 40-1 for Conn Smythe. What this guy is doing in game 4s, 6-0 with a 1-2-6, 2 shutouts. In games 4 through 7 of a series career, 13-1. And then he's unbelievable in closeout games. So now you got that in your back pocket tomorrow too. Okay. Come on, Skinner.
So what if he loses tomorrow night 3-2?
It's okay.
I'm not going to go anything crazy here. I'm not going to say like he gets blasted 6-1 because that would probably do it. But I do think that, again, it's an award. We're talking about Stuart Skinner to win the Conn Smythe. It's an award for the entire playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said is absolutely accurate, I think. And we'll detail this coming up a little bit more in about 30 minutes.
But it's a fascinating discussion because if you're going to get Florida against Edmonton, they're both deep and so many guys. What are we up to? Like 19 different guys have scored? Mm-hmm. So if you're winning low-scoring games, that takes off Bob. And then I have to maybe look at Skinner and this defense and what they're doing.
Well, I will say this. The part where, to me, Skinner and his candidacy here actually started to maybe you could make a case for it. The back-to-back shutouts against the Golden Knights to cap off the series?
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
When they had to kind of have that? And that's exactly how he delivered? And so I said at the time when it was over with, I don't know. I mean, I know he didn't even play the whole series, but I think he probably would have been the MVP with how it finished of that series against Vegas. So I think he needs to have another great game and a win in Game 5. That's it. No more. Finish him off. And then they got to be low-scoring games, and they have to win the Cup.
There's a path because they're so strong defensively. There's a path here. Definitely.
He's 19-1 here at Circa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What is Davis doing? He must have said no mas. Something came in. Oh, my God. He's given up one goal or fewer in 5 of his last 6 starts, 3 shutouts. It's an all-time redemption arc. It's a good tweet we got. That's exactly right.
I've had people reach out to me to say he's absolutely got a pulse.
Damn right. There is a path. Now, Hyman's out for the series.
Yep.
That's big.
The big.
But you might get Ekholm back, and if all these guys are guy scores here, Nugent Hopkins here, Draisaitl gets one. I think Draisaitl's got a better case than McDavid, actually.
So do I.
All right.
Right up next, we'll update live numbers, MLB scoreboard, and talk about tonight's schedule here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
With some college football here with Brad Powers, professional sports bettor, been on this show and other shows here on the network on a weekly basis throughout the football season now for several years. And he is on the Progressive guest line. We'll get some best bets from him coming up in a second, but it's official now, Brad. You are out of Las Vegas. You moved away from this great city. And you've been here betting professionally now for more than a decade. Was sports betting a reason why?
No, not the major reason why. Although, let's be honest. I mean, it's not like I would put Nevada as the greatest state in the world to sports betting in at least derivative markets, so to speak. So, I mean, when 80% of the handle in the country is by 2 sports books that the state of Nevada doesn't have. I mean, it's sometimes tough talking to customers where, well, I can't bet that in this state. I mean, legally, so to speak, I got to drive to Arizona. So, I mean, there's that. But, I mean, it was more personal. I mean, I got some aging parents that have a lot of land. I got to be closer to them. And then me personally, I was just, outside of sports betting in Vegas, the landscape of Nevada is not. Call me. Grew up in a very sheltered life, but a lot of the things that go on there on a day-to-day basis, it's not for me. There's a homeless problem in Nevada, and I don't want to take up the whole segment, but there's a lot of things I don't like. Crime, all that in Nevada that I'm old and tired and don't want to deal with it on a daily basis.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Very good. The last time we talked to you in January, you said your bets, you were going to monitor and watch what you bet and maybe not get as involved as much in the summer with volume. Is that true so far?
It is true. And not, I already anticipated it probably, but twofold. One, even for a guy like myself that likes to think I can price uncertainty, there's more uncertainty than ever before. Why? Well, I mean, on a per team basis, even compared to last season, I'm not comparing it to 3 years ago or 10 years ago. Last season, 3 less returning starters per team on an average basis this year compared to last year. Also, I'm a big spring game guy. I watch 50 plus every year for the last 10 years. This year, 12. Why? They didn't televise them. So a lot of maybe extra nuggets that I'd like to pick up in a 2-hour viewing period didn't happen. On top of that, I mean, I think a lot of the markets have been relatively slow. Now everything's up now, but it should be. I mean, we're post Memorial Day now. So now we finally have some week 1 on all games. We have group of 5 win totals finally get posted. So it's been a little slow just because of, there's more roster turnover than ever before. And I think myself and the market in general, there's a little bit of hesitation to pull on trigger. With that being said, I've still made like 80 bets.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know that some coaches have said this, and out here locally, I think this made some national news. UNLV coach Dan Mullen, the new coach out here, said, let's just have like one period for the portal. Can't we just all agree on that? Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Yeah. Post, the one that happens post regular season would be ideal instead of having to do it all over again, post spring. Although with that being said, I mean, the spring portal movement, did it impact the Georgias, the Ohio States, the Notre Dames of the world this go around? It didn't. Okay. It was mainly backup players that weren't going to start at bigger places, or a few key guys. I mean, there's teams at the G5 level that lost 4 or 5 starters. So, it didn't impact the higher ups of college football. But if you're paying attention to some of the lower levels, I mean, it certainly did. But it would be easier for me if it was just one. But we'll see. I mean, everything's on the table when it comes to college football and the ever-changing sport.
Right. Was there a game? So books now are posting this stuff, and they have now for a good week or so. We're talking, week 0 games, week 1 numbers, beyond that as well. Was there a game or multiple games that you saw and you're like, wait a second here, my number is like kind of like way off of that? That's not the right number, or were they pretty close to where your numbers are at?
Yeah, believe it or not, I've been doing this a decade plus. I thought it was the best release of like a full board at this point in the season that I've come across. Now, maybe that's a weakness in my own ratings that I'm not, adjusting for some reason, but I thought they did a pretty good job. With that being said, I made a ton of bets. Now, I'd already been pretty much involved with all the marquee games, your Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, Miami, TCU, North Carolina. We go down the list. I bet all them games. But some of the lower level games, I thought a few were off 3+ points. I'll give you one. A little bit in the weeds. I like Arizona. Lay it if you Arizona against Hawaii. I laid 10.5. So that's one. I haven't told anybody, but telling you guys.
Thank you.
That one is going to close 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Are you involved with TCU going against Belichick to start?
I am. I like TCU. It's a bet that I made. And you know me, I made it a couple points ago, but I still think it's holding value. I think TCU should be favored. I think they're clearly the superior team. I like TCU generally speaking this year. I bet over their win total. That's still 6.5. I bet on the other side, I bet North Carolina under the win total. I am not buying Belichick. I'm not buying Belichick, period. For the longest time, that whole debate, Belichick or Brady, who should get the most credit. I was actually team Belichick for a long time until I wasn't. And now I think we got enough of a sample size, 10+ years, nearly 200 games without Tom Brady behind center. He's a below 500 coach. He's 70+ years old. He's never coached at the college level. I'm not a big fan of his assistant or support staff that he's put together. I'm not a big fan of him as a GM, period, or anybody. He's got the evaluating talent there. I think it's not a good sign that you're going out getting your starting quarterback post spring. Name me all the teams that are expected to go 8-4, 9-3. How many of them are going out and getting your starting quarterback? None. The only one is North Carolina this offseason. So under 7.5 for me. TCU beats them outright. I think, and Mr. No Days Off, and that whole mantra. I mean, I'm seeing him on the beach playing footsie with the 20-year-old. I mean, I don't like the distractions.
Yeah, great. All right, coming heavy. You can answer this. I'd like you to answer this as a fan, and then as a bettor. You're concerned that they might take a sledgehammer to this sport, which now 16-team playoff, something that also was on the table, play-in games, top 2 teams in the conference would meet, and then you'd have 3 would play 6, 4 would play 5, the winners would meet. There was a scenario where maybe Iowa could have been a playoff team. I mean, you look at like a 6th-place team with all these tiebreakers, and a 7-5 team could be involved in this damn playoff.
Yeah, to me, I think the sledgehammer has already been used multiple times. It's already the sport that we grew up with, or anybody in any other generation has grown up with, is gone. And I'll give you one example. Let's just look at the defending national champs, Ohio State. In any other year in the history of college football, the Michigan loss would have ended their season, basically, as far as their chance to get to the national championship game. And yet, it didn't. And they won the national championship. And to me, I think college football would have been a little more interesting had they, that result ended it. And Ryan Day would be on the most unbelievable hot seat. But they stayed in it, and they were able to, win the national championship. Now, as a better, more games, the merrier. Keep adding teams from the FCS. We got 20 more teams than when I started 10 years ago. We've got more games. Keep adding in the playoff. That's fine. More games and more opportunities for value. But boy, as a fan, I don't like a lot of the changes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wrecking ball to the sport now over the last several years. You mentioned that you've been betting like the marquee game.
Oh, look at the hat I'm wearing. SC. I mean, they're so gutless. They don't want to play Notre Dame. There's only three blue blood rivalries as far as, the 8 blue bloods in the sport. Obviously Oklahoma, Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, USC play one another. And one of those is going to go by the wayside because they're going to listen to gutless Lincoln Riley. I mean, come on. I just think it's a joke.
No, it's super sad.
I mean, you blame Notre Dame. Oh, the Notre Dame series doesn't do anything for us anymore. Well, you joined the Big Ten. Whose fault is that? I mean, you don't want to make a bunch of cross-country trips anymore. Well, whose fault is that? That's SC's fault.
Awesome rant. Totally agree with what you just said there. How did you bet the Texas and Ohio State game, by the way? I'm looking at Ohio State about 3.5-point favorites now in that game.
I laid 2.5 with the Buckeyes. Not one of my favorite bets, but a bet I thought both teams are pretty similar. It's in Columbus, even though it's a big noon start and not a night kickoff. I think, generally speaking, Arch Manning's maybe a little bit overrated, and Texas, generally speaking, is a little overrated in the market. So I laid a little bit with the Buckeyes in that game, but not one of my favorite bets that I made. Okay. But a bet that I thought, hey, that's much more likely this closes 3 or above than gets any further than 2.5.
Yeah. Would you say that Arizona then against Hawaii is your best bet as of right now that's currently on the board?
It is not, but I will not, as of right now, until places like Circa open up, I will not say my absolute best bet because I'd like to get a little bit more on the game. So I will not. Let me say this, it's 2 G5 teams playing one another.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Great appearance, Brad. And hope everything with the move goes well and that everything in Ohio, I totally get it, man. Next to the parents back there as well, both Midwestern boys, Paulie is as well. So good luck with everything back there, and thanks for the time as always. We appreciate that.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
Be good.
Stay in touch. Good luck.
He's on X at BradPower7, BradPowerSports.com.
Maybe we'll see him soon. We hit the road. Omaha, June 12th through the 14th. The iconic home of the Jello Shot Challenge. Rocco's. Catch money moves and follow the money live from Omaha. Special Saturday show, 9 to 12 local time. We'll bring you the sights, sounds, and best bets from the tournament. If you're in the neighborhood, stop by, say hello. Omaha, College World Series, Rocco's. June 12th through the 14th.
Win, lose next. Stuart Skinner, awesome again last night. People reached out to me and said, this can happen. We'll compare Conn Smythe odds at different books next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Updating the Major League Baseball scoreboard today. Paul Skeens was a dog today. I get it with the offense. To Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks.
Well, they're starting to hit, though.
On the road. They are. They are. And currently the 3 spot here in the 6th, and they lead at Arizona by a score of 6-0. Gallen has been yanked, and it looks like he allowed 5 earned runs today. And again, we pointed this out earlier in the show. The second and third time through the order for Gallen has not been friendly to him so far this year. So looking good right now for the Pirates. And Paul Skeens also over 6.5 Ks today. Cha-ching, cash it. That was plus money.
Yep.
He's only at 74 pitches as we speak. So he's turning it on now, man. He's like turning into the guy that we had last year, last couple of starts. And in the other game going on, Sandy Alcantara, again, talking about a guy, second and third time through the order.
Wow. Not
good. Gave up 5 in the 4th. It's 6-2 Padres right now. And Alcantara, 6 earned. I have his outs under. He's at 71 pitches. Let's get him out of the game. 0 Ks today.
So he'd be the first pitcher in Marlins history to lose 8 straight starts. He came in 0-7 with an ERA of 9 and change. Oh, boy.
Here's what one request to sportsbooks, because they will offer ladder props to the positive. I want to be able to ladder props to the negative with K-props. I want to bet Kershaw and Alcantara under 4.5, 3.5, 2.5 in these games. Alcantara was 4.5 today. So we have some blind resume right now for MLB awards. And we'll kick it off with some NL MVP numbers, Paulie. We're going in fresh. We can take a guess. But through 55 games, player A, 42 runs, 60 hits. He's got 13 doubles, 14 home runs, 49 RBI, 16 stolen bases, 121 total bases, and an OPS plus of 139. Well, with the home runs and the stolen base count, my guess has to be PCA.
Okay.
With who we're going there.
All right. Great stats. Unveil. There it is.
And
that
okay.
is ESPN.com's MVP. They just did the article yesterday out of all these awards. His emergence has made him one of baseball's best stories. But could he put up these elite defense and base running metrics? What a leap from what he's done. He's on pace for a 40-40 season.
You know, he turned down a big contract extension, too, before the year.
Okay, yeah. They got Ohtani right behind him, and then Tatis.
Well, on the odds board, I know, well, we'll continue this before I give that away, but Ohtani's had a great May. We'll leave it at that. So that's player A. Let's get into player B with 52 games, 13 home runs, 38 runs scored, 28 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, a 138 OPS. Slash line 278, 344, and 512. I don't know who this is. I actually have no clue who that is. Can we put up player B, please? Fernando Tatis, 6-1.
Wow.
His numbers aren't close to PCA.
No. Wow.
Not even in the same ballpark. What are we doing here?
He was in a big funk, too. Broke out of it the last couple nights.
Oh, clearly the guy.
Wow.
Now, here's the question, though. Can PCA do it for a full year?
Yes.
He's done it for 2 months. He needs to do it for 4 more. Oh, my God, his numbers blow Tatis is out of the water. Okay, player C here in the National League MVP market. 44 games, 58 hits, 30 runs scored. Not many there. 14 doubles, 9 home runs, 0 stolen bases. He's a lefty, Paulie. 356, 426, 620, a 194 OPS. I know who that is.
Oh, yeah? I don't.
That's Freddie Freeman.
Is it? Oh, you got it.
And 20-1.
Okay. He's on that sick run, what he was doing, hitting almost 500 during that hitting streak and cashing that total base prop on a nightly basis.
Would you want him at 20-1?
No.
I don't think he can overtake Ohtani, can he?
No.
On his own team?
Ohtani is on pace for 58 home runs and 170 runs.
What?
That's what it says.
170 runs scored?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So 20-1 there on Freeman. Tatis 6-1, PCA 10-1. Last guy here, player D. Looks like he's rounded the bases, by the way, on the silhouette. 18 home runs, 49 hits overall, 41 runs scored, 40 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 253 average, 166 OPS plus.
Oh, no, that's not. I thought that was Suzuki, right? It's not Suzuki.
That's Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah?
Is who that is.
Bam.
55-1?
Wow.
I'm adding.
Yeah?
At that number, Phillies are a first-place team. I can kind of corner the market here because I have Soto at a bad number now, 20-1, but you know, that's when you got PCA at 120-1 and 71, you can start to add guys. Ohtani is like minus 190 or $2 now to win the MVP because his May has been so awesome.
And Judge is 8,000 at one spot.
Yeah.
How about that? Can't be 8,000.
Something could happen here.
Yeah, I know. There's too much baseball left. You get hurt.
Would you take a field bet right now?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
All right. I don't know.
It's happened before. He's been hurt before. He gets hurt, it opens a door.
You tell me right now
too much time left.
Yeah, you tell me right now that PCA goes 40-40. I think he can win the whole thing.
Okay.
Here we go. NL Cy Young, 5 wins. Oh, he's 5-5 on the year. 2.82 ERA, 73 innings, 84 strikeouts, a 1.214 WHIP, 13 Ks per 9, a 1.37 ERA plus. He's kind of got the long hair there underneath the hat. He's a right-hander. 5-5 on the year. Any guesses?
Baffled.
Don't know who it is either. Player A here is Logan Webb, 10-1. Those are not great numbers.
No, he just got roughed up the previous start as well.
But I will say again, I brought this up before his last start. I think it was still 10-1. I'm like, it's not worth a bet to me, but the numbers at Fangraphs, their projections year long, like had that guy almost running away with the Cy Young.
ESPN has him 7th.
7th, huh? All right. Hold on to the top 3 here until we're done with this.
Yep.
That's the first guy. I'm not betting him 10-1. This guy's 6-1 with a 2.42, 88 strikeouts, sub 0.9 whip, 11.2 Ks per 9, a 170. Is that Zach Wheeler? It is 3-1.
Okay.
He can win it.
They have him second.
They have him number 2.
Yep.
There's no doubt this guy can win it. I've been on Zach Wheeler plenty of times in the past, and he's been so close. If today is August 1st and he's 3-1, I might bet it. Today I'm not going to. But
22 and 2/3 scoreless streak.
Man, he was supposed to go tonight. Game has been postponed. Pitcher number C. There you go, Mitch. 3-5 on the year. 2.36 with the ERA. That's good. 68 innings, 70 Ks, 0.95 whip, 9 Ks per 9, 177 ERA plus, with a 3-5 record. Huh. Is that Yamamoto? Or does he have more than 3? No, he doesn't have 5 losses. That's Skeens.
You're kidding.
Wow. Plus 240 entering today. Yeah, Yamamoto's not 3-5. My bad. Well, his numbers are only going to get better after today. I think that we're watching Paul Skeens get into the guy that we were hoping he would be last year, and he was last year.
Should I tell you what they have? Good job, guys.
Yeah, well, they got one more guy here, but sure.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay. This guy's 4-2 with a 2.54 ERA, 63 Ks, 0.85 whip, 11 plus Ks per 9, and a 175 ERA plus.
Senga unveiled?
Let's see it. Hunter,
no, come on.
12-1.
He is 8th.
Hunter Green's 8th?
Yes.
Okay.
Luzardo, front runner. Wheeler, Skeens, Yamamoto, Senga, Robbie Ray.
Senga's Robbie Ray. Interesting. Yeah. The NL Cy Young market is absolutely loaded with guys. If Hunter Green can stay healthy, he can win the award. But he's already been hurt once. He just came off the IL.
How about American League? Skubal is 4th. But he's a huge favorite at most books.
He can't be 4th. I mean, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
Under what, some sort of model that they have, or people talking about who they would vote for?
Model and who's the front runner and who they're going to give it to. Yeah, they got Bubic, Fried, Evaldi.
Well, he left the game yesterday after 2 innings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But 7 straight starts allowing 1 earned run or fewer.
Well, Saturday's going to be telling. Again, Skubal takes on Bubic. Tigers against the Royals. That's a huge game. Last game in the month of May. And that's Skubal's 6th start, by the way, this month. Part of the reason why we bet the Tigers.
Okay.
So I guess the takeaway is here. I don't want to bet 3-1 right now, but Wheeler's numbers look amazing. And in the MVP, I think we're cooking there with PCA is what we're doing.
Damn right.
Okay.
VSiN fans, how would you like to play Circa Survivor or Circa Millions for free? Winner's Circle Proxy giving away 1 free entry to each contest, plus full proxy service. You'll be paired with a VSiN host for strategy all season long. Enter now for your chance to win. Just visit winnercircleproxy.com/VSiN, winnercircleproxy.com/VSiN.
Professional sports bettor Aaron Renning joins the program coming up next. We'll get his betting approach for tonight. We'll ask him about projected series prices in the NBA Finals. Should the Thunder be $5 or more against the Pacers? We'll get his thoughts on that coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll hit the NBA here. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Good to have you on board here on a Wednesday as we head out to the Progressive guest line. And professional sports bettor Aaron Renning joins the program now. Loves betting on the NBA. ER, good to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
You bet. Paulie and I were talking about this not only today, but throughout the week and going back to like last week as well. We think the numbers here on a day-by-day basis with the Knicks and Pacers are a little funky. Like, after game 1, the loss there, the Knicks, I get it, the zigzag thing. Big game for them, laying 6.5 for a lot of that time before it closed like around 6. And then they go back to Indy, and the Pacers are laying like 1.5, 2. It seems like these teams are much closer than that. Do you agree with that, or do you think the Knicks are the play here in Game 5 as it goes back to the Garden?
That's a very fair sentiment. Obviously, at this point, the market just hasn't given the Pacers enough credit. I don't know what they exactly are here in the postseason, but 10-4 against the spread or what have you. I have to say this: my numbers showed value on the Knicks from really since the playoffs started. I bet them in the series against the Pistons. I did bet them very small in the series against Boston. And I do have a series bet on them here against the Pacers, which obviously doesn't look very good at this standpoint. So, I guess, just from a power ranking standpoint, my numbers showed value in the Knicks. I still think, that Knicks top three with Brunson and Towns and Anunoby. I mean, you could even see when Towns brings it, that's a very tough three guys to beat, and you always want kind of three, stars, all-stars in the NBA playoffs. So, my value has been on the Knicks. Obviously, it's now or never, so I did bet the Knicks here in this game here for tomorrow. Again, got a little bit better number last night when the market opened.
What do you think from a total standpoint? And it looks like the Knicks want to run with them, although that was just a crazy game, how high scoring that was. I saw the in-play as high as 248.5.
I haven't done anything with the totals in this series. I was pretty neutral. I always kind of lean to play unders in the NBA playoffs, but didn't feel good about that. And a lot, as you mentioned, Paulie, with the Pacers here. I mean, whether it's Minnesota or the New York Knicks. Yeah. I mean, you can't allow 130 in a playoff game and expect to win that game, but. After the Pacers lost in that in that last not the last game, but the game before that, they just kind of regrouped and said, "Hey, we want to push the pace as much as possible and get back to ourselves," and that's exactly what they did. So it really doesn't make sense, but in some regard, the Knicks just haven't had a lot of choice as the Pacers have played their game for the most part of the series, and that's obviously what they've been able to do is wear teams down. It looks like. And, that's kind of the trouble in this series with the Knicks losing the first two games. It's just a complete disaster because as the series went on, Pacers had the tempo, they had the youth, and the depth to really make it a series here.
Yeah, by the way, for the record, the number's 4.5 now, pretty much at most books. Circa just moved to 4, by the way, ER. They moved back to 4. How about that?
I didn't see. I mean, I think there was definitely concern, and even when I played it, on a Towns injury, obviously on the line with you guys. I don't know if some news just came out or what.
Okay. So what do you want to do with the game tonight? I still can't. I mean, Oklahoma City played a great game, but, I mean, my God, for Minnesota not to win that game outright in Game 4 is just an all-timer, right? So what do you want to do with the game tonight as it goes back to OKC?
The T-Wolves are extremely frustrating team. They've been this way for, the last couple of years, even going back to last year's playoffs. I mean, they look like dynamite, like obviously an NBA Finals team some nights, and then they just don't have it on other nights. And it's, I call it the Rudy Gobert effect. And then, it just this offense can bog down. And that wasn't the problem. You score 126. And in fact, Minnesota shot 57% in 51%.
Yep.
The last two games against, historically this great Thunder defense. So, I guess I'm always in that school. What goes up generally comes down. I think the T-Wolves probably have a very tough time scoring in this game. Again, you have this historic defense. They allow 143, 126. You get that short rest. You got to travel back to Oklahoma City here. So I think Minnesota will have a hard time scoring, which, again, they've certainly shown at times in this series, in this playoffs, 88 points, the first game of the series. So I think it kind of goes back to that, and I think we get the highest total here. But I have a pretty good bet on this one under the total.
When did you jump in on OKC futures, realizing that Cleveland and Boston might be vulnerable here?
Well, that's exactly it, Paul. I mean, you saw Boston down 0-2. Cleveland was in trouble with injuries down in the series. And again, just mathematically, if those two teams were eliminated, the Thunder were going to go on and be a pretty big, series favorite, certainly against Indiana or New York. And I thought they'd be a pretty big favorite here, see the writing on the wall against Minnesota. With that said, I mean, at that point, we're not out of the woods against Denver. And obviously that went to 7 games. So you had definitely a couple of days there where you could get the Thunder. I think I bought them plus 140, plus 130, plus 120, even maybe some plus 110, 100 in there. I was just kind of buying up as much as possible. And again, the market wasn't super huge because you had injuries with Boston and Cleveland at that point. But again, I thought the Thunder were definitely going to be, if you do that 2-team parlay against Minnesota, against Indiana or New York, you're going to still have a favorite. So I thought that was a good opportunity there.
Yeah, and so what do you make then of the projected numbers? And books are offering this at some spots anyway across the country. If it is Thunder Pacers in the NBA Finals, they've made it like around 520 on Oklahoma City. You have to lay $520 to win 100. Is that in your ballpark there of numbers that you have?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't had the Pacers rated that high. And to be honest, the bench, Nembhard, et cetera, those guys have really come through for that team. Those guys were not really that super highly thought of coming into the playoffs. So, yeah, that's definitely ballpark. I thought it would be kind of probably in between the price you said and kind of what they were against Minnesota as far as being a favorite. But, yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to have kind of a commanding favorite. And it's interesting because, again, you have to give the Pacers a ton of credit. I mean, it's hard to remember a team in the playoffs with just absolutely no fear. And that's the Pacers. Mm-hmm. And it's just worked out so well for them. I mean, if we get that finals, Pacers-Thunder, to me, it's kind of the future of the NBA. Yeah. I mean, you have dynamic guards, defensive pressure, defensive, switching, and kind of this 5-out offense. And, unfortunately, probably for the Pacers, the Thunder are probably just, better or a little bit better in kind of doing that. Obviously, it's crazy with Halliburton and no turnovers last night, but there's no other team that can turn you over more and put pressure on you more than the Thunder. So, I mean, that's just fascinating, the Thunder defense against Halliburton right there as far as turning the ball over. But again, the Thunder are probably just more depth, a little bit deeper, a little bit more athletic, a little bit more skilled than the Pacers. But, yeah, at this point, you can't really discount what the Pacers have been able to do.
Shams said on ESPN this week, get ready for the most unpredictable or the craziest offseason that we've had on record. If that happens, are you going to try to get ahead of it before the news breaks and grab any futures, or do you just really not play futures at all?
Yeah, definitely I don't really get into that. I'm always kind of thankful when the NBA season finally gets over, guys, and need a little bit break from it. I think some of that is probably news bait or news click, whatever you have. But yeah. It's kind of hard to do that now with the new collective bargaining, where you just don't see a lot of player movement. I will say this, as bettors and guys who try to do this for a living, I mean, as much change as possible. Bring it on, because that's what you want, because, I'll take my chances that I can figure it out faster than the betting market can.
Yeah, very good. ER, good to catch up. Good luck tonight, and we'll be in touch down the road. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
There you go. Aaron Renning, professional sports bettor on the Progressive Guest Line. Let me give you this. Killer Sports on X. Their NBA playoff database goes back to 2002. Oklahoma City is the only team to have lost their first 7 playoff road games ATS. The most to start the playoffs by an eventual NBA title team. The 07-08 Celtics, they lost their first 6 games in the playoffs that year, ATS. They were playing games back then that were in the 70s and in the 60s, I think. Yeah. That series against Cleveland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
For the NBA, it was so much better back then, crowd.
Yeah. They were so good, and then went 7 with Atlanta and 7 with Cleveland. And then I think they took out Detroit in 6 and then had their way. But that was a rough start where they back-to-back Game 7s to start when they were so good in the regular season.
All right, so we have a lot to get into next. A little NFL MVP and T-Wolves to come back and make the NBA Finals, or Stuart Skinner to win the Conn Smythe. Door 1, Door 2 next here on VSiN.